Hello, my name is Anitarky and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to support it. Subscribe and comment. The boy is next to a stream in a forest and the girl with him is upset about leaving, so he promises her that they will be friends forever in the present. Kazuma wakes up after this strange dream on the train he is traveling on with his brother Ayumu, and the brothers see how beautiful their destination is outside the train. The children arrive at the town of Yamapiko and head to the Yorazuyan and then visited it in their childhood, and whose owner was a friend of their father, who agreed to let them stay, but since they are people from the city, he accidentally gets on the wrong bus and they end up several miles from their destination. They soon have to wait at an old bus stop to take them back to the city. While they wait, a monkey appears, takes Ayamu's hat, and runs away. Kazuma chases the monkey into the forest and finds it difficult to navigate the area. He chases the monkey up a tree, manages to retrieve his brother's hat but gets lost. He meets Yui in the forest, a cheerful local girl who loves plants and who guides him back to the bus stop. She shows him how to cross the stream, but has a flashback and accidentally lands and kisses. Yui's friend Ibuki saw everything and calls him a pervert before chasing him and threatening to call the police. He is given directions to the bus stop and Kazuma returns. With her brother they arrive at the inn and meet Senka, the landlady, who remembers them when they were children. She is very kind until Kazuma accidentally calls her an old woman. The brothers get nice rooms and are amazed by the inn. Kazuma decides to take a bath and meets Tsumugi, who works at the inn. Senka also enters and calls him small. Then Senko offers them dinner and Kazuma thinks about the day and wishes he could see why again Ayumu has a nightmare. And the brothers sleep together that morning. They meet formally Tsumugi, who guides them to the local high school. Kazuma explains to them as they walk to school that the brothers have moved to the countryside since it is better for Ayumu's health at school. Ibuki catches Yui daydreaming about the previous day and they are surprised to see that Kazuma has transferred to her class the night before. Yui had a dream in which she and her brother shared a cheesecake, which led to her kissing Kazuma in the forest. He wakes up thinking about the kiss in the present. Kazuma shows up to the class he was assigned to sit in. In the back, next to Yui and Ibuki, the class asks him about his relationship with Ibuki, who recognized him in the broadcast. The two start fighting because she doesn't want anything to do with him. After literature class, he meets Daigo, who is impressed with Kazuma's progress. The girls have lunch with the girls and Kazuma finds out that Yui always eats a lot of food. Since Kazuma is new, they decide to show him around the city and Ibuki comes to make sure he doesn't flirt with Yui. Kazuma calls Amu to see if his brother can join them. Tsumugi also comes and they meet Kasein, his younger sister, who is with Ayumu. They explore the countryside and notice that the brothers are acting very close to each other. They arrive at a convenience store that is a popular place for teenagers. In the town where Yui buys only cheese-flavored snacks, they also explore the town center full of local stores and Kasein shares a lot of gossip about the families that run the stores. The group tells the brothers about a mountain legend where they got lost during the day. Before, where a celestial couple lived together and were separated by an angry god. This results in the two mountains that separate the town, and it is said that their cries of love created the town that is in the middle of the mountain. Their next destination is the local sanctuary where Kazuma meets Miko Madoka, who is also a classmate at his school. After hearing her name she runs away. The group decided to end the day at a pastry shop where they have many desserts. Kazuma wipes the cream off Yui's face and she remembers and calls his brother that night. Yui thinks about his day and is happy that he called Kazuma brother that night. Madoka dreams of playing with a boy by a stream who gives her a ring of flowers. The next morning, Senka approaches the brothers thinking they are doing something inappropriate due to his wild imagination. After he leaves his brother, Kazuma meets up with his friends but feels like someone is watching him at school. Kazuma finds out that there are already a lot of rumors about him because of the incident in the forest with Yui, and he continues to feel like someone is stalking him. He sees the stalker but accidentally bumps into Madoka, but she is so nervous that she throws him to the ground and runs away. Tsumugi takes him to the nurse to recover. The next day, he goes to the shrine to apologize to Madoka, who also apologizes to him. They formally introduce themselves, but she asks him about the rumor with Yui and is saddened to hear that they kissed. Suddenly he is hit by an acorn thrown by Koyori, one of Tsumuga's sisters, who has been harassing him and calls him a threat. She throws acorns at him, but runs away when Madoka defends him the next day. Yui and Kazuma join Ayumu, who has been drawing the field. But when Ayumu feels sick, Kazuma takes him. Yui flashbacks to memories of her brother and wishes for Kazuma. He would also carry her in the inn. Ayumu sleeps. Yui makes a mess eating all the sodas. The next day, Kazuma accidentally lands on Hina, and the upperclassman. He calls her a phone ornament, and she leaves embarrassed. Daigo tells Kazuma that she is the beauty. School cold. During lunch group chat about the upcoming sports festival, and a triathlon where participants represent different businesses in the city. Senka asks her if he can represent the inn in the race, and she helps him train while he jogs. He meets Koyori, who is saving a cat in a tree. He manages to catch her when she falls. He accompanies her to visit the elderly Jingoro, for whom she is buying food because he is old. Jingoro talks about his sick grandson, Keta, and Koyori agrees to buy medicine for each of them. Hina can't stop thinking about meeting Kazuma, and she wants to apologize to him for acting cold. Kazuma continues training and finds Ibuki training for the archery club. Ibuki tells him that UI is training his way while Koyori promised to help Jingoro visit the cicada. Keta asks Koyori if he can win next. He runs for it and Koyori promises that he will win at all costs. Hina is also training in the season. Abandoned toy on the road. She meets Kazuma and is embarrassed to be seen with the toy. He also meets Madoka, who tells him more about the legend of the mountain and a star. A bridge appears in the sky when the couple in the mountains finally reunite. The day of the sports festival comes to Tsumuki and Hina are captains of opposing teams. Daigo is the festival announcer and UI wins a race because he loves food, while Madoka has problems. Because she is too short, a deadpan Hina easily wins the sprint. Tsumugi struggles in the obstacle course, and Ibuki easily wins the archery competition by imagining that the target is Kazuma's face. The group eats lunch to prepare for the final race, and when the race is about to end, they start. Ayumu applauds Kazuma in a questionable outfit. First they have to eat 30 bowls of red beans, which UI easily wins. Then they have to catch eels, and finally they have to wear random costumes. Koyori leads the race but has to run in UI and Hina's wedding dress. They slow down because Hina finds Yui's costume too cute and chases her in the last leg of the race. Koyori is hurt in a tuxedo. Kazuma tells him to stop hurting himself. She tells him about herself. Thomas, Takeda, and Kazuma decide to take Kohori to the finish line. That she can get first place, Jingoro and Kato watch as Koyori is announced as the winner at school. The girls are surprised to hear that Kazuma hasn't been studying for the final exams and tell him that if he doesn't get a good score they will have to give up their summer vacation to help him. They all eventually go to study together for the final exams. Hina still hasn't apologized to Kazuma, so she goes all the way to and meets up with Ayumu, the group studying for hours, and decides to take a break at the inn. Bathhouse. The children find the walls to be very thin and Daigo tries to climb the wall but Koyori stops him. Daigo tries again by sneaking through the backyard but Senka stops him after his baths. The group relax looking at the fireflies that are the city. The famous fireflies remind UI of her brother Hajime, and how she was upset that he got married when she grew up. She was traumatized when she saw her brother and his fiancée kissing among the fireflies and became depressed. At their wedding, after studying for a long time, the group decided to stay. At the end of that night, Kazuma and UI accidentally meet. UI eats the leftover food because her noisy stomach wakes everyone up, and Madoka wakes up during the night to see Kazuma and UI together. The group does well in the endings of school and decide to go to the nearby city of Honshu to celebrate. Everyone except Ayumu and Ibuki decide to go on a trip and go to an arcade in the city. Madoka attracts a lot of attention and UI fails to earn any snacks in the crane game. Daigo plays a game where all the players get naked but are caught by the girls. Kazuma plays the crane game and wins a phone ornament from the local mascot 9 Bobo. Hina asks him for it, and he gives it to her. They decide to go to karaoke and have a fun time singing and eating snacks. The next day the group decided to watch the Ibuki archery competition. They try to cheer her up but Ibuki seems to be distracted. Ibuki is eliminated in the last round and does not reunite with the group after a worried Kazuma finds her. She sits alone in the overlook and confesses that she lost the competition because she was sick of archery after so many years and just wanted the competition to end. Kazuma encourages her by telling her to shout her frustrations around the city. He then agrees not to tell anyone what happened afterward. Kazuma invites the group on a trip and they all take a trip to the beach. Madoka is embarrassed to be seen by so many people and accidentally she runs into Kazuma. Madoka has problems with the floats, so Kazuma helps her so that the group has fun swimming. But Ibuki avoids the water because she doesn't know how to swim and punishes Kazuma. Hina and Kazuma help teach Ayumu and Ibuki to swim. This makes UI think of his brother. Madoka asks UI about her relationship with Kazuma and UI says that she thinks of Kazuma as an older brother, which relieved Madoka because they split a watermelon to share, and Ibuki continues attacking Kazuma while UI is able to find and split the watermelon by sniffing. Ayumu asks Tsumugi about his job at the end and Tsumugi tells him that he hopes he can do it. He works at the inn full-time because he loves the city. On the way home, UI asks Ibuki what she thinks about Kazuma and Ibuki gets embarrassed one day. Kazuma finds Hina sitting alone in the park and she almost faints from hunger. He gives her food and she reveals that she has run away from home without money or clothes. He sneaks her into his room because she has nowhere to go during the day and then accidentally catches her cleaning herself at night. They sleep together and she reveals that she ran away because her dad didn't want. She goes to university in Tokyo for fear of never returning to her small town. She finally apologizes to him for acting cold at their first meeting, and Kazuma encourages her to talk to her father about her true feelings in the morning. Senka catches them together accidentally and forces them to clean up the end to earn a living. Hina's father comes looking for her and accuses Kazuma of seducing Hina with big city talk. Senka kicks him out for causing trouble at the end. The next day, Hina's father challenges Kazuma to a tug-of-war for Hina's freedom. The town gathers to watch the tug-of-war at the sanctuary. Kazuma uses the memory of Hina's talk with him as motivation and wins the tug-of-war that night. Hina hugs her father after her mother tells her that she was planning to lose. Anyway, in order to go to the university she wanted, Madoka finds out about the tug-of-war from Hina and gets depressed. Koyori hears that Madoka doesn't come out of her room and Gregoro tells her that she's probably confusing the tug-of-war with Kazuma's proposal to when Koyori finds the study group and tells Kazuma the news, and once the confusion is clear, she heads to Madoka to cheer up the group, except Kazuma decides to plan a date for Madoka and Kazuma. But Ibuki becomes frustrated and expresses his concern to Ui Kassen, and Koyori meets with Madoka and gives her the plan for the date with Kazuma, and they create a situation so that Kazuma and Madoka are alone all day. The two spend the day together at the amusement park, and rides they are too much for Madoka. The haunted house is also too much for her. Finally, they have a romantic ride on the Ferris wheel. The next day they decide to go hiking today, and they go together to the forest at the stream where they were children. At the stream, Kazuma realized that Madoka, she was the girl from his memories, and Madoka reveals that she cannot forget the memory of them playing together when they were children. He hoped the broadcast would help him remember and asks him if he remembered his farewell that day, and Kazuma promises that they will always be friends on their way to school. Ibuki and Ui talks about Kazuma, and Ibuki warns Ui that if she has feelings for Kazuma she should confess to him or someone else will steal it, including herself. That night both girls think about confessing to Kazuma. They abort. Kazuma goes to the city and meets up with Ibuki, and they decide to go to the city since the rest of the group is busy and she missed the last trip due to the archery tournament in the city. Ibuki and Kazuma have fun playing in the game room, buying different outfits for each other, eating spaghetti together and singing karaoke together. They are surprised when they are given a free drink for being a cute couple. Meanwhile, at the inn, Ayumu draws a picture from Ui as a gift to Kazuma. I am the one who thinks that she will go out with her brother, and Ui denies that Walt Tsumugi arrives and tells him why Kazuma is not her older brother. Ui asks Ayumu for permission if she could confess to Kazuma, thinking about her experience with her older brother after her day in town. Ibuki and Kazuma have drinks together and she asks him out, but Kazuma thinks she's joking as he realizes his mistake on the way home. He runs back to apologize to her, but she tries to argue that I was joking the next day. Ibuki screams her frustration at the overlook as Ui finally congratulates her brother for their marriage. The next day, Senka informs Kazuma that he is the first place man in the city race, and that he will be in the next city play about the heavenly couple to represent the male god and everyone the men of the village. Daigo tells him and the couples of his grandparents use the play to confess that so many people compete to play the god and goddess in the play. Tsumugi has chosen to play the goddess with the endorsements of Hina and Yuya, so everyone practices at the shrine feeling something. Tsumugi asks Ui about Kazuma and discovers that Ui loves him at the same time as Hina encourages Kazuma to be honest about his feelings on the day of the festival. Tsumugi says that he has a big stomachache and asks Ui if he can drink. Her place is goddess for the festival. The festival begins and Madoka plays the role of the messenger while Kazuma plays the role of the male god in the city festival, who drove in a cart to the bridge and is surprised to see Ui on the other side. Overcome with emotion, he pulls the script and declares his love for Ui with the support of Ibuki. Ui also confesses to Kazuma in front of the city. That night, Madoka and Ibuki watch the new couple go to the broadcast where they met for the first time, and Kazuma and Ui share a kiss under the stars. And that's all for this video.